What is happiness? We understand better when it's tangible rather than abstract, like enjoying an ice cream on a summer afternoon, watching a film with a loved one, or making a shot in basketball. People around the world have always pursued happiness, but they do so in different ways. There's a village in Southwest China's Guizhou province that has pursued happiness this way. Cliffs as sharp as blades surround the village. The village, cut off by these cliffs, had no water supply for centuries.
There's no rice in the village. If we don't have enough food, people can't do anything. They feel panicked without food in their homes.
All the villagers had to share one well that collected rainwater.
We used to draw water from this well, but it wasn't enough for all of us. We had to wait in line. Sometimes I'd sleep in the field and get up at midnight when there were fewer people to get water. Some couldn't wait. We used to say that people would disown their own family when fighting to draw water. Arguments and fights were common in the old days.
Throughout history, many people have resorted to pillaging in the face of shortages. Must serving our interests come at the cost of others?
It's okay for China to do what's in its own interest if that is also in the interest of the world, which it is. China's growth and development has been a tremendous benefit for the entire world and will continue to be.
In fact, Huangba village is only 16 kilometers from its closest water source, Majiahogo. A water channel would bring more than enough, so villagers wouldn't have to fight over water anymore. But creating such a channel would require chiseling through 3 mountains, including sheer cliffs that are hundreds of meters high. So, villagers had to rely on nature's mercy to survive. In 1959, a 23-year-old man proposed digging a channel with the villagers.
Our technology was outdated back then. Without proper equipment, we could only roughly measure with our eyes. Without cement, we could only mix mud with limestone powder, but it would fall apart in winter.
After years of work, all they'd accomplished was boring a cave through one peak.
This is the tunnel we dug out for the first cave. The water was already drawn in, but there wasn't enough to flow through, so the tunnel was deserted. We only use it as a pedestrian passageway now.
Setbacks happen when learning, especially when a nation is exploring its unique path forward.
Everybody who wants to criticize China doesn't want to discuss the big picture. In 1949, China was almost the poorest country in the world. Now, China is on the brink of becoming a high-income economy by World Bank standard. No country in the whole history of humanity has ever had such success in taking people out of poverty, in developing the country, as the question of China. And that's the big picture.
In 1992, when that young man was over 50, he once again persuaded the villagers to build this channel, using the knowledge of water facilities that he'd accumulated over decades. 3 years later, they chiseled a nearly 10-kilometer channel along the cliff faces.
In the most dangerous places, we tied ropes around ourselves and rappelled down the cliffs. On the day we completed the channel, I cried. Our villagers could finally enjoy clean water and plant rice. Even Mr. Huang, our party chief, burst into tears. I was determined to complete the channel even if it cost me my life. I never gave up since I was in my teens. And now I'm in my 80s. I'll do anything I can to improve conditions here.
With abundant water and food, Huang Dafa then led the villagers to build power lines, roads, and plantations. They also developed their own tourist attractions, lifting themselves out of poverty once and for all. Huangba's progress lies in a transformation of thought, specifically that it's better to develop new resources together than to fight over limited existing resources. Leadership and solidarity also played their parts. It's like a microcosm of China's approach of finding a path of its own, guided by the leadership of an advanced party, advancing its development through people support and gathering momentum from the inside out.
The CPC is the reason that China's developed. The people-centered development is crucial, and it's particularly been put into effect this year because, very unusually, due to the COVID situation. So the economic target was abandoned, but the poverty target wasn't abandoned, and that's showing you quite clearly. The top priority for China was the elimination of poverty, and that's absolutely people-centered development.
Foreigners are criticizing the party because they don't like China to rise and get bigger and get stronger. Is true in a few cases, but is not true for the majority of thinkers in the West.
China is set to soon accomplish a goal that has been Chinese people's dream for thousands of years. That is, to build a moderately prosperous society in all respects. This means higher incomes, better living conditions, and a happier and more secure life for everyone. Every person with medical problems shall be treated properly, and every elderly person shall be well provided for. Equality and justice shall render light on every corner of the nation.
The Chinese model of development is not taken from any book. It's unique, and it is based on working conditions.
The success of China's economic transformation was it didn't follow the IMF and World Bank and Washington consensus. It did something completely different, and it did it based on its own cultural, historic, heritage, geographical factors.
The world would not have achieved the MDGs without China promoting that concept of Xiaokan.
Conquering mountains with solidarity and faith. Such is the secret to Huangba Village's happiness. Seeking development through the people and pursuing happiness for people's sake. Such is the secret to building a moderately prosperous society in all respects. Wherever you are, however you choose to pursue happiness, we wish you a happier tomorrow.